Linda,
Hi.
today is Authorpalooza at Dog Eared Bookstore and the Dog Eared Pages Bookstore. I'd like to know what motivated you to write all these novels. The Ghost World, the That Amores, Ghost of a Chance, and Fiona. Tell me about any particular protagonist like Fiona.
Fiona? Fiona started off with, this is actually part of the series, so Ghost of a Chance is the second book in the series. Fiona was about Americans going over to London during the Victorian era
Yes.
and marrying into British aristocracy. So basically, rich Americans were buying titles so that they could then stand apart from the rest of Americans. So then I thought, what would be funny would be to have an American heiress worth millions going over and meeting all these British aristocrats who needed money to prop up their lifestyle, but she didn't want to get married. And then to make matters worse, what if her dead fiance couldn't move on until he found her a husband?
Wow. Fiona. It sounds like a very great character for a soap opera, Fiona.
Yes.
That would be really wonderful. It's something that we could see on maybe channel PBS.
Yes. Definitely attitude, definitely a whole cultural clash between the American forthrighteousness and British tradition, I suppose you say.
Yes. When did you start writing?
I started writing in 1997. And it's because I've always made up stories, but I never wrote because writing is hard. Don't let anybody tell you different. But it was while I had an hour and a half commute down to Casa Grande for my job as a scientist that I decided maybe I could start writing a little bit on that commute. So I dictated to my recorder on the way, and then when I got home I would transcribe it, and so that's how I started writing these books.
And up till now, you're still writing. How many total books do you have?
I have about 44 works.
Wow.
They're not all here.
And this one's called Unmask My Heart.
Correct.
And this one is The Threshold of Extinction. Where can I find your books?
You can find them on Amazon, or you can find them on Barnes & Noble online, or Kobo and iBooks.
Okay. Redaction Extinct Level Event. Tell me a little bit about this one because the title is totally very interesting and mysterious.
Yes. Well, redaction means editing, but usually it's blacked out editing, so you can't see what has been taken out.
Yes.
So redaction, basically, humanity is being removed from the book of life. So it started with my training from Homeland Security. What would happen if Phoenix endured a biological warfare attack on the heels of what ended up being a mass pandemic of the flu. And the biological warfare attack ended up killing pretty much everything, destroying society, which then led to the second book, which is the meltdown of the power plants and spent fuel rods, and then everyone living in caves. And so it was how we as humans would adapt to really, which is the end of our society.
Would you like to see your works in the movies, on film?
I would love to see some of my books into movies. Definitely, some of them would be hard to tell because redaction is told from the viewpoints of several different people, and they don't come together until the end of the first book. So, I would love to see my sci-fi made into anime movies because that would just be cool. And then something like the Love's Great War, which is set during the First World War, and made into something like a Downton Abbey kind of thing.
And is this the historical romance fiction?
Yes.
This one,
Yes,
Unmask
so
My Heart.
Yes.
And it talks about Halloween 1914
Correct.
at Hopes Point in Michigan.
Yes.
That's the setting. And as far back as 1914, that's a very, very interesting setting for you. What motivated you to use Hopes Point, Michigan? I've been to Hopes Point. It's a very interesting place.
Well, at Hopes Point, I wanted the island, a small island society, but I wanted really something that was, I went back to the U.S. at that cusp between before we became a very inclusive and cultural, multicultural society. And I wanted to know what my grandmother, who is German, experience when she was here, when the Germans were the bad guys in the First World War. So that's where it started. But the island was because everyone is very close. It's even closer than on a small village or a small town. And so what happens when a German shows up on their border, when all the Canada is involved in the First World War and the United States is remaining neutral? How does that play out? So in all of them, it deals with Americans coming to terms with the fact that we're not Americans, we are from somewhere else.
Okay, thank you so much. What's next for you in terms of your writing, and are you going to move into movies and films,
That's
short
a different-
films?
That's a different writing style altogether. I'm still learning my craft.
So
After
you-
40 some books, I'm still learning how to write books.
Are you kidding? That's
I'm not-
very
there's-
humble of you.
There's always something new to learn.
So no plans of going into screenplays?
No.
Okay.
I write a screenplay.
The one entitled That's Amores, is that about love? Is that a romance fiction?
That is a romance fiction. It's set in the fictional town of Amores in Italy, and in it is Cupid and his wife Psyche. They are matchmakers. So it's a little bit of gods and goddesses and humans and magic.
Okay, it's been a great pleasure, Linda Andrews. Where can we find your book?
You can go to my website, authorlindaandrews.com, and they're all there and they're all sorted so you can pick one.
lindaandrews.com. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.